Hello, Harry. How are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. How are you, man?
Yeah, it's not. It's been a good day actually. Yeah, it's been a good day. But
Good.
we're both obviously not too far apart, and we are friends. Which is normally when I do these interviews, is with people that I don't know, or obviously done my research. But with you and I, we've obviously met a few times now. So just being transparent to everybody watching this, we are friends. But
Yep.
Harry's been great. A bit great inspiration for me to set up all these videos. So it's to him I owe a lot of thanks. But yeah, so I just thought it was about time we did a video together. So Harry, your
Good.
your story with Ketnipz. Do you want to, if anyone doesn't know who's watching this, I'm sure everyone does know. What was the catalyst for you to sort of create this little character, this little being?
I mean, I get asked that a fair bit, and I sound like a broken record sometimes, but I just wanted a way. It started off a way of sort of venting my issues with high school and stuff. I started when I was 17, and I was sort of it was a turbulent time in my life, and yeah, so I drew the bean, and it was just like this random thing, and then I kept going with it, and it sort of morphed into something which is a bit more positive, and so now it's just a fun thing I do to try and spread some positivity online and get some laughs, and yeah, that's sort of where it's at, but it's really fun.
So with Ketnipz, then it's spurred from some like a very negative sort of part of your life or through school. I mean, what can you obviously explain what school was for you? Um,
Yeah, well, school, I feel like I had a very similar experience to school as a lot of kids my age, where it was just like you're not good at it, but you're not bad at it. You're just sort of in the middle, and you're sort of going along with it all. And I never felt like I knew what I wanted to do, um, especially in sixth form. I was just a bit everywhere, and so I fell back into drawing. I've always drawn, but I really started to gravitate more to it in those last years, and then kind of got a year into form, and I was like, well, I haven't signed up to any universities. No one's really sort of saying I need to do this and that. So I thought, well, I might as well just treat it as if I'm going to do a gap year and just double down on Ketnipz and see if I can make anything of it. I was also working a lot online. So I was doing graphic design for people, different YouTubers, and one of them, Danny Duncan, gave me an opportunity to go out to the States once I was done with school and try and help build the business a bit. And so that was really, that was the thing that sort of gave me the motivation after school to really keep going with it. But yeah, in school, I was just like well, I don't know, it's a strange time. And I look back at it now, and I'm almost envious of myself. Like, if I'd known what I wanted to do back then, I would have just, I don't know, completely gone a different direction. So,
and
yeah.
you mentioned then about Danny giving the opportunity to go to the States. Was that because he sort of saw the Ketnipz potential, or was that something completely nothing to do with Ketnipz? And then obviously you worked together on that to get it where it is now.
Yeah, so I mean, at this point, it's very much a team effort with him involved. But when it started, it was just very crude illustrations that I was posting on Instagram every other day, and it was really fun. I was just had 1,000 followers or like 100, and then was building it up gradually. And I was doing all this work for him on the side, and it was unrelated work, but I think I asked him. I started doing T-shirts by myself when it got to like a couple of thousand followers, and I was trying to make some profit off it and make some cool clothing. So I asked him, "Can I send you a T-shirt?" And he saw the T-shirt, and he was like, "Okay, this is a cool thing. Maybe there's something there." So that's when it started to change a lot. Um, but but yeah, no, Danny's been a really big help.
And, you know, what advice then could you give to anyone, you know, any other 17-year-old, anyone who's like 17 or 16, 17, who's just left school, has a passion for something? You know, what advice could you give them? I know obviously with Danny was a great help, but you obviously you've got the skills anyway, I mean, the talent. But what sort of advice could you give to somebody who's maybe a bit lost, but they have that, you know, that talent?
It's a hard one because everyone is in a unique situation. But the main thing is realizing that the people who are sort of 100 miles down the road and they're doing their thing, they had to start somewhere. And I mean, I look at people who inspired me, and I would just look up and see where they started, and you know, it's always humble beginnings. And if someone has come into it and they've just sort of been, you know, gifted everything from the get, they're not going to stay in the business for long. But I mean, if you want to do it and you want to do it as a career, whether it's art or music, you have to realize like it's going to be a struggle for 5-10 years, and it's just going to be pain. But that, you know, if you really love it, then you just got to do it, and hopefully something happens. A lot of it is luck, but you've got to match that with the work.
Yeah, and like you just mentioned, you've got to put the hours and the years into it, because it doesn't happen overnight. You can't expect it to be given to you on a plate. You know, you've got to put the effort and the work in, and then work at it and keep working at it until you get that lucky break. So with Ketnipz, what sort of vision have you got for the character going forward now? I know you've started to use TikTok. Is that something you want to sort of spend a lot more time on, or other things for Ketnipz?
Yeah, well, we've spoken a bit about this, and I've sort of tried to encourage you to get on TikTok as well.
Yeah.
I don't think it's TikTok, the app, which is unique. I think the good thing about TikTok is the fact that it's really pushing video content. And I think that's the takeaway from all of this is it's important to get into that line if you can. For me, I've always drawn still comics. You know, it's just sort of like traditional Garfield type stuff. So I wanted to, you know, give myself a challenge and try and do some animation. And TikTok seemed like a perfect fit for that too. And it's been really fun. So I posted something like 12 animations or something. And I've been doing animation for a while, but it's been the first time I've really tried. And it's fun. And we're up to 900K, I think, which is great, which is amazing. And this is the thing about TikTok is it's got a funky algorithm. I don't know how it works, but it's sort of like roll of the dice. So one video might, you know, not hit at all, or it might reach like 5 million people. It's like, and you could have like 5 followers. It's completely scatterbrain, and I don't know how it works, but it's really fun at the same time because it's a bit of a wild card. And other places like Instagram and Twitter are really entrenched, and they sort of it's quite hard to break into them. But I like TikTok because it's allowed a lot of new people to come up, and I think that's really important, and something that Facebook and them need to realize is like they need to switch it up to compete. And it'll be interesting to see what happens with all the regulations on TikTok. So at the point we're recording this, Trump has sort of said we might ban it because it's got a lot of Chinese backdoors. There was some issue with them pulling out of Hong Kong as well, and India obviously banned it too. So I mean, in a week's time, it might not even exist to us in the Western world. But I mean, it's more an indication to other social media platforms that this is the content that people like and want. And I think it's sort of setting the tone. So it's a good thing to get on it regardless.
And you mentioned the algorithms that are on TikTok. I mean, you must spend so much time researching all these new sort of apps, social media apps, because when you're talking to me now, you're coming across like as a genius. You know, you know Instagram, Facebook.
Not really. I mean,
well, no, but you know what I mean.
it's kind of my business to know. I feel like I should know more, but like I'm sort of dumb if I don't. And TikTok, they don't really give much away about the algorithm. They just, the way it works is, say you uploaded a video and it was about frogs, and you put it up, and then you've included a hashtag frog. So it's going to go to everyone who enjoys frog content already. And if they enjoy it, then it gets blown up even more. And then I'm pretty sure it does it on a to likes ratio. So the amount of engagement based on how much initial viewership that video gets will translate to how much the algorithm pushes it. So, but it's really complicated, but it's very different to what Instagram does. Instagram will say, look, you know, he has 100,000 followers. We're just gonna, you know, promote it to those followers, see what happens, and then if those followers enjoy it, then we'll put it on more explore pages. But TikTok is sort of like, we don't really care about people who are already following that person. It's just gonna go. Yeah, I don't know. I think, yeah, it's wild though.
The thing is, mate, you could write an idiot's guide to TikTok, and you know more about it than anyone I've spoken to. So
I don't want to advise anyone on it, because I feel like the kids who are really killing it, they don't care about the algorithm. They'll just post what they like, and it's sort of you can't be too methodical about it. But,
as long as you're making it fun, that's the most important thing. It's fun.
Yeah.
And you know, if we get back to Ketnipz, like the videos you've been putting on TikTok, the only, like you said, there's 11 or 12, isn't there? I think you posted in the last few weeks. But they're fun, they're happy, you know, and people are engaging with that. I think, you know, there's potential there for a cartoon to spin off, because I just think there is potential. You know, you're getting the traffic. Yeah, we don't know. Hopefully, maybe that's the next step. But so can we talk about lockdown then? What's it been like for you? Because I know with a lot of people, we're stuck at home, or, you know, like me, I'm doing my temporary house job, as you know. But what's it been like for you? Has it been making you more? I mean, I know you. I mean, I know you now. I know you're quite an introverted person. You know, a lot more than myself. But how's it been for you being stuck at home?
It's weird. I don't think it's for me, it's not really been like a change in a lifestyle, because I work from home and I, you know, maybe socialize with like 5 people in a week, so it's not a big deal. But the main thing, yeah, but I think the main change has been just everyone's emotions. And then I might be introverted, but I'm quite empathetic. So when everyone around me is sort of changing emotion and all quite alien, and everyone's just been dropped in a little bucket of chaos, it's you can't help but feel that too, even though you're not really affected by it. So it's been a strange one, but I feel like we're getting used to it a bit. 4 months or 5 months later.
It's 4 months. Have the creativity juices come out of you more? You know, have you got more, you know, more creative during this time of being at home than before?
I don't know. I feel like it's sort of been the same. Maybe I'm wrong. It's been a while. It's hard to compare it now. It's almost like the new reality. But no, it's I think there's a lot more fun topics to explore, sort of like controversies around people wearing masks. So I made an animation about that, obviously. And then some other stuff about like social distancing, and just generally being aware that people might be a bit more stressed now, so there might be more of a need for this kind of content, and thinking of fun ways to work around that. But for the most part, you know, it's just 2020. 2020 is just wild. So yeah.
It sure is, mate. It sure is. So with, you know, I mean, you got a lot of fans on Instagram, quite a lot. What's the craziest thing anyone's ever sent to you, or request?
Oh my God. That's a hard one. I wouldn't know. Most people are friendly. Um, I don't know. It's still weird seeing people with tattoos. That's strange. Uh, Tattoos. You know, I'm trying to think of other stuff. Sort of like high school yearbooks where they've like quoted me or something like that. That's always fun. But it's not really like one standout thing. It's a lot of small fun stuff which you just, yeah, it sort of reminds you like, oh, you got a pretty cool job. That's fun. So yeah.
Do you still pinch yourself? Thinking back to when you were, if you could think back to when you were 17 to where you are now. I mean, it's only been like 4 years. Do you still pinch yourself?
Sometimes, but I don't really look back that much. And I've always known I wanted just to do what I want to do, and I'm fortunate enough to be able to do that. So that's great, and I'm happy about that. But I feel like there's still a lot of track to get through. So yeah, so I'm just very sort of forward focused. Yeah.
And I know before lockdown, you were in the process of hopefully going to America. Is that something that's still, going to be, top of your agenda, possibly once things get back to some sort of normality?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, it's literally at this point just waiting for the embassies to open up again, and then yep, and then that's it. But at the same time, I look at the States and I'm like, oh, yeah, might get even more funky if Kanye becomes president.
It'll make for some good animations and artwork. So.
Oh yeah, plenty of content there. Ugh.
So, but you still think if you do go there, to America, you'll still come back quite often to. I mean, you've got family, I know here, and friends, but is it something you might just want to just go to America and then just stay there for quite a while, make a mark, or do you think you're still going to have like not 50-50 sort of split between locations, or do you think you might just want to? I don't know. What's your plan?
I'm quite annoying because whenever I go there, I've gone there for stints before, so I'll do 2-3 months at a time and just work. But every time I go, I'm always like, well, I really miss Cardiff now. But when I'm in Cardiff, I'm like, well, I could really do with being out there. So it's a pain. It's always like one or the other, and maybe I'm just need to learn to be happy wherever. But I don't think if for some reason I couldn't go in the future, or America would just cease to exist, I don't think that I would be in a spot where I wouldn't feel like I could progress upwards. It's like I just think it's a nice change of pace, and there's a lot more people there who are doing a similar thing, and that's the main reason I want to go and spend some time there.
So you've also got a good base out there. You got a good connect. Some good friends out there. Make it work for you. So.
Yeah, which is super lucky as well. But again, I've only met them because of the internet. So, if you're someone who lives in a small rural town and you want to do something similar, you just need to be prepared to reach out to people online.
I've got one question about Ketnipz. How the character, when you started drawing it, I'm not going to say he or she, obviously it's an it. Non-gender.
It's a bean. It's a bean.
Yeah. How long was it from inception where you sort of started doodling to the finished product? Are we talking a year, 2 years, or 6 months, or a week?
Until I knew like what it was.
Yeah.
I still feel like I'm not really 100% on it, which is probably a good thing. I feel like I know that the character is it's a good thing that the bean is such a blank canvas, which is what I've always thought. I didn't want to throw a bunch of bells and whistles on bean and get confused by it. I just wanted it to be a vehicle to tell stories and sort of express some emotion. That's great. If you get a character like that, that's super. You don't want to bog it down with too much detail. So.
And I know it's obviously it plays, portrays a lot about mental health. That's something that when you see some of the drawings and the artwork, sorry, the videos.
Mhm.
But positive mental attitude. Where do you get that from for yourself? I mean, them sort of ideas, and you know, I couldn't think of them. Where do you where do you get the ideas from?
Yeah, a lot of it is what you're influenced by already online. So I definitely pull inspiration from other creators. But a lot of it is sort of, where I feel like there's a need for it is sort of when I've thought about rough spots where I've been at in life and thought about, what sort of content would provide me with a tiny little bit of respite, through some crap points. And I think hopefully my content can provide that in a very small, minute way. But regardless of the size, that's chill. That's fun.
Have any of your people, that your fans, or reached out and said this, by watching this, or seeing the picture on Instagram, have they reached out and said this helped me through some sort of situation that they've been going through?
Yeah. I mean, no one's ever said like, "Oh, it's changed my life," but it's always small things like if someone sets it as a wallpaper, and it's just that tiny reminder to just be kind to yourself, or express yourself, or care less about people's opinions. It's just those small little things that help nudge you in a right direction.
Hmm. It's and that small little thing has got so much positivity, hasn't it? The being he or she. I keep saying he or she, but it's
And also, I don't care what you call it. You could call him a him or a her. It doesn't matter to me. It's just that it's a bean. People get so hung up on those things. It's crazy. Yeah.
So what's the? I mean, obviously, I know we've still got lockdown. What do you think the next 6 to 12 months is going to be for you? Then I know you mentioned maybe a cartoon could be a potential, or I don't know, maybe books, or is there something like that you could sort of mention to people watching this that might think, oh, Harry's going to do this, for Bean, or is he going to do something completely different?
Well, I like to keep things fresh. So animation's been something really fun for me, sort of really getting stuck into that and getting people involved with it too. So I got some people in Cardiff helping with the music for it, and I got some people drawing all the sort of the in between, because doing an animation is a lot of work. It's like for a minute's worth of content, that's like me working flat out for a week or two. And so if I can share that, it's like, that's great.
Good.
And then I'm trying to get that up to like 2 or 3 videos a week. So that's really fun, and learning the logistics of that. But I've been trying to learn how to write proper stories. So reading a lot about storylining and character arcs and typical, movie structures, things like that. And I'm not saying I'm going to go off and make a movie, but that's something I'm really interested in, because I want to build the characters out of it. I've got this little world, but I'd really like to expand on it and explore some bigger ideas, hopefully.
And people watching this, they may think, I mean, age is irrelevant, but I mean, I know I keep saying to you after I meet you, I can't believe you were 20 when I met you, but you're 21, and talking to you, it's like some I don't know, have you ever seen the TV show Umbrella Academy? There's a character in there.
No, I haven't.
Oh, you should watch it. He comes back as a boy. He's a young boy, but he goes in the future and he comes back in the same body. But he's got the brain of a 58-year-old or 56-year-old. And I was thinking because you've got the brain of someone my age. I'm not 56, by the way.
I doubt that very much. I think no, I'm just I'm just keen. I just like what I do. That's it. Yeah.
You don't mind hard work. You're motivated. You've got that.
Yeah.
Positive mental attitude. You've got that. And if anyone watching this can be inspired, by
a fly.
if I be inspired by you, then that's key. That's key for me. So what's the rest of the week you've got planned for you? You got the weekend coming up?
What day is it? It's Wednesday.
Wednesday, yeah.
Thursday. Oh no, it's Wednesday. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, my dudes. It's so what have I got? hopefully got the animation / comic coming out Friday, so I'm working on that. Got some other stuff going on too. So a lot of what I've been doing recently is sort of background work, which no one's really seeing, but it's contributing to down the road stuff. So that's all busy, and yeah, and hopefully get to see some mates in the park maybe. Yeah, that's it. What about you?
Me? Oh gosh, I've got 2 days off. I've got Thursday and Friday off, so I'm going to be playing around with Instagram and TikTok, as per what you told me the other day, and obviously Halen as well, who does all the producing, and he's fantastic. So yeah, I'm going to
Shouts out Halen.
Halen's great. Yeah. No, with Instagram and TikTok, it's been quite big learning curve for me. But for yourself, I mean, how do you find the time to sort of split what you do? I know you're obviously doing the artwork, you'll do the social media stuff, design, maybe for the t-shirt. How do you split your time? Because for me, I find it a bit of a, I just stress if I think I've got to do 3 things. But for you, you must be having like 10, 12 things on the go at one time. How do you manage that?
Well, I get a lot of help with it, so it's not, there's not enough hours in the day for me to be like, well, I got to do this t-shirt and this and this. I pop. I couldn't do it all. So I have, some really great people helping with the animation stuff, like I said before,
Yeah.
and accounting and the boring stuff, and yeah, so a lot of that is covered. But I mean, I'll do like, I'll work maybe up at like 9, and I'll work until like 11, and it's still like a full day, and I might go out for lunch or something like that, but it's full on. And I think if I was in a job which I didn't enjoy, I couldn't keep it up, but because I'm quite passionate about it, that helps. So again, if you're someone who's watching this and you're thinking like, I'd like to do something similar, you just have to really enjoy it, and that will get you through a lot of the BS.
And are you still working on LA time?
No, I've been smart about that. So yes, I used to do completely antisocial hours of posting at 2 a.m. and then staying up until 4 and then waking up the next day at 12, and it was horrible, and my circadian rhythms were all junked up. So decided against that, and now I feel a lot healthier, so that's great. And exercise is good too. So
yeah, exercise is key. It's good for the body and good for the mind.
That's it. Your mind's a muscle.
Yeah,
so.
It sure is. Maybe they can see a little animation with Bean saying about the mind and muscle. So
Bean doesn't exercise.
no. I've seen him lying down many a time.
Yeah, he'd have a slimmer waistline.
How quick can you doodle, Ketnipz? How quick are you doodling that?
I'm pretty quick now. So it's usually like, I'm trying to think of an example, but if the video is 30 seconds long, and it's got 100 frames, then I'll spend a day doing all the frames, and then I do a day coloring the frames, and then a day editing with the music. But that's usually it. And then those 100 frames become 200 when I have to do a draft first. So it's like, yeah.
And all this is self-taught, isn't it? I mean, all these sort of, how to do the animation, well, not the animations, but all the uploads, that's all self-taught.
I'll show you what helps. Where'd it go? Got a big book on animation.
Okay.
That's it. So this is by the guy who did like all the Looney Tunes and stuff.
Yeah.
And Roger Rabbit, I think, too. But he basically does a lot of like technical stuff about animation that you just don't realize. But at the same time, it's sort of like shortcuts.
Yeah.
So this is the Bible, but it's really interesting. It's crazy stuff. And you look at all the animators from bloomin' Disney, when they were doing all the Snow White and Pinocchio, those guys were like 80 years old. They were ancient. And they were just drawing away because they spent their whole life learning these little tricks of the trade and stuff. So it's a whole thing. Yeah, but it's fun.
Yeah, it's interesting. I didn't know you had a book like that to, you know, give you some guidance, so anyone can sort of get that book.
Yeah, but there's also there's some good videos too. There's one on YouTube by a guy called Captain Christian, and that talks about I think they were called the 9 great animators or something who worked at Disney, and they've got all these techniques like squash and stretch and arcs. So, for instance, if you want an animation to look natural, there's got to be, so say you threw a ball at the ground and it bounced. When the ball hit the ground, it wouldn't stay the same shape. So say like on the monitor now, if the ball was falling and this is the ground, when it hit, it's got to go like this. And then when it bounces back up, it's got to go like that. It's not just like this, you know? Yeah. It's all these small things, but at the same time, when it does this, it doesn't lose the overall mass. So it stays the same. It doesn't go like this or like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's like, and then you have to think, how does that relate to my character? And then you got to do that 1,000 times. so yeah, it's weird.
To it. There's a massive amount of information you can research, but then to implement it to what you're doing, you've got to think about the physics of a lot, you know, of the scene.
It's really techy, and I'm not used to that at all. So, but it's a fun thing to learn.
You do a good job, mate.
Hey, cool, fun. That's all you can do.
Yeah. All right. Well. Thank you, Harry. I really appreciate it, and I'll speak to you soon.
Thank you, Carl. God bless. Stay safe.